Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me? If you are on the call, just give a reaction. If you guys can hear me, give a reaction. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Let's see. All right. So we are going to be starting very soon, for the next 5 to 10 minutes, so we can, have other people to join us. Just stick behind. Thank you. All right, I think we need to get started now. Um, so, good evening, everyone. Please let me know if you can hear me. Just give a reaction. Like, I want to get reaction from you guys to know that you guys are excited to be on this call today or to be on this training. Just give an emoji, send an emoji. Let's see your reaction. All right. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, so welcome to today's live session. So I'm excited to you know I'm excited to talk about today, to share with you AWS S3, and we're going to explore the capabilities, what it does, why do we need it, um, its capabilities, which is beyond cloud and storage. Whether you are new into the cloud or you already into it and you want to kind of have, or you want to sharpen your AWS skill, this session is designed to give you a solid foundation in S3 and its real world applications. So there's a lot that's going to be covered today, from basics to setting up your websites. Should join me today on an incredible cloud engineering, with experts Sharif and Mohammed, who are going to bring the knowledge and hands-on experience with AWS. So they are going to be guiding us today through the key concepts and hands-on lab to make sure you live with practical skills to gain the experience that you need uh, in the right way. So let's get started. So I'm going to bring Sharif on board uh, in a second. Thank you. Let's see.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I'm Sheriff. I'm the technical lead at the AWS Cloud Club, and like the captain just said, today is going to be a session going deeply into S3, its applications, and it's going to be a little project at the end. So before I begin, I really just want to say that whenever you hear S3, the first thing that comes to your mind is storage, right? So that's the name, simple storage service. They put simple there, but don't let that simple fool you, right? S3 is a lot more than just storage. It can serve as a warehouse. It can serve as a medium for you, like a data warehouse. I mean, it can serve as a medium for you to actually like host websites and a lot more. So let's get into it. One second. Okay. So we already talked about like some of the use cases of S3. That's storage and warehousing, data warehouse. But there's also a lot more that can be done with S3. Our AI chatbot and our ChatGPT and everything, they use S3, right? So they actually keep a bunch of data. Then because S3 is practically unlimited, like you can store a lot of data into it. You can actually use it as a place for your LLM, for them to actually tap into there. So you can use it as like a data source to actually train LLMs. That's what I'm trying to say. So now what's Amazon S3? Like I said before, it's a simple storage service, right? You create buckets, and each bucket can hold like can hold like up to 5 terabytes of data, and you can create like unlimited buckets. So that's one of the key advantage of S3. It's cheap and it's unlimited compared to like traditional means of storage. If you were to buy like a hard drive or an SSD or like or a flash drive, it's limited. After like 2 terabytes, you have to buy another one. We have to read that they don't give you that limit is not there. You can keep on expanding as your business needs. You can keep on expanding as your project needs even. So one of the core features of S3 is 99.999. That's 99s of just of durability. So what that means, that I'm trying to tell you that for you to keep data in S3, the probability that you come back here, right, and some your data will not be there or your data will have been corrupted. The probability of that happening is try to like 1 in a billion or like there's a lot of nines there. So this means that like your data is always going to be there, always going to be there. Whenever you log in, you will always see your data there. So the key benefits of S3, like I said, is very slow. It's very cheap, very cheap, very cost effective. Not cheap, very cost effective. It is scalable, meaning you only pay for the amount of storage that you have consumed, and if you want to add more, you can like optionally add more as well. It is very secure, very secure. Whenever you put a data in S3, it's encrypted. It's encrypted, so you don't even have to worry that on the other end they're actually going to be seeing my data. Your data is encrypted, and you can choose to encrypt your data whenever you are uploading it to S3 as well. So in typical use cases of S3, we have backup and storage, also used in data lakes. Data lakes is just like a data warehouse, a place where you keep a lot of data. That data that doesn't even make sense at the moment, but it might make sense in the future. That's where you keep it. You can use it for static website hosting. You can use it for your hosting applications again and for media distribution. So I mentioned buckets earlier. So when they say bucket, it's just S3 way of grouping data, right? That's just their own fancy way of grouping data. You can just think of it as that. So a bucket is a container for storing objects in S3. Objects are your files. Just another fancy name again. Object meaning your files. So it's similar to the root folder of a computer. So like in a computer now, you're going to have a root folder. Then from that root folder, it branches onto every other folder in your computer. So that's what the bucket is. Just like a fancy word. The bucket is just a way for S3 to put your data into one place. So objects are the files that you store in data. You can store up to 5 terabytes in size, but you can have limited of that. But each object can be stored up to 5 terabytes in size. So in the previous session we had, I said something about DNS compliant. So when it comes to naming S3 buckets, it has to be DNS compliant. And what that means is that your names are global, right? If you choose a name for this bucket, no other bucket can have that same name because it's like a URL. So whenever you create this thing, oh, I'm creating this bucket now and I'm calling it my bucket 1234. No other bucket again must have that name. So they are unique. And for storage and retrieval, so whenever you upload your data to S3, it's actually replicated across three data centers. That's in a region, they will spread it around three, all the availability zones there. Basically, the data centers, they will spread the data there for availability so that in case anything should happen, you can easily retrieve your data. One second. Okay. So now we know that S3 is a way for us to store data, and we know that you can have like many buckets as you want. So if someone now decides, okay, one second, please. Okay, so I received info that my background noise was very very loud and disturbing. Is it better now? So can you guys hear me? Let me just see maybe like a message in the chat if you can hear me better now. Okay, thank you. All right, so as I was saying, you store this data in the cloud, but like there has to be a way. So someone that accesses data once every month and someone that actually accesses data every single day, it's not fair if they have to pay the same amount of money, right? So that's why AWS actually like they created the storage classes. So you have S3 and then data you store in, you can actually choose the class that you want. So there's a standard class. Whenever you create a bucket, if you don't specify, it's going to be standard. So standard fees are applied. That's what I mean by standard. Then we have infrequent access. Infrequent access are for those guys that, oh, say for example now you're uploading should I say you're uploading like your monthly financial record to S3. You know you're only going to touch that thing like once every month because at the end of the month, that's where you actually touch what's there. So that's why you can use infrequent access. It's cheaper. And whenever you want to require it, it is fast to actually like extract the data. And then there is Glacier. So Glacier is very, 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 very cheap. It's the cheapest of all. It's almost free, safe. It's not free, but it's almost free because of the price is very, very, very low cost. And what Glacier does is it provides like a cold storage. So you keep the data there. You can't access it as much as you want. You just keep it there. So things that you can actually do, let's say, for example, now your birth certificate. Let's say, for example, now you want to store your birth certificate in S3. You know you won't be touching that every day because it's only like, oh, maybe if you want to create a passport or anything that you actually go and touch. So you can use something like Glacier for that use case. It is very cheap, and and each storage class they have their own like trade-off, right? So standard is the fastest, meaning that if I create a standard bucket now and I upload an image there, if I go to request for that image, maybe I want to download the image or to see it, it's immediately. There's no that latency is not there. With infrequent access, it's very fast, but it's not as fast as standard. And with Glacier, Glacier takes the most time. So it can even take like hours for you to get data you store in Glacier. So companies actually use this one for backup, like proper backup, or basically things that they won't be accessing like for a very long time, maybe like a year or so. You store that in Glacier. Now there are other storage classes, but AWS asterisks them, meaning that they still fall under these three categories. So we have intelligent tiering. Intelligent tiering is like should I go call it like an AI like an AI class. It's not an AI class, but it's intelligent as it should be it's intelligent basically. So it detects your data, how long you access your data, how rarely you download it, or how rarely you request to see data. Then based on that data, based on like your usage pattern, it will now help you to move your data between the tiers. So data that is in standard, if you put data in standard and you turn on intelligent tiering, if you don't access data every single time, oh, you can push it down to infrequent access. Then if you don't use it again, it will now push it down to Glacier for you. So it's just intelligence. And there's also one zone standard. That one is under standard. That one is for one zone. You know, normally when I said before that I said in this slide that whenever you upload your data to S3, they'll replicate it for you, right? Across different availability zones. But if you don't want that, you want it to only be in one zone. Maybe you have strong head or like you're not just sure of anything. You want it to be in one zone. They have that option for you as well, right? Okay. Okay, so the data that you now put into S3 now, we talk about security and talk about security. There has to be a way for you to actually prevent people from seeing what normally they can't even see itself. But even let's say within your organization now, there has to be a level that each person has. There has to be a level of access someone has to the bucket, right? And that's where the access control comes in. So by default, all buckets are private. Any bucket you create by default, they are private. You don't have to worry about any bucket being private. But you can now choose to make it public by yourself when you are creating a bucket. And even after you've created, you can choose to make it public. and that's by disabling the block public access. So when you are creating a bucket, you see it's a field there, block public access. It contains four other it contains like other sub it contains sub should I say sub policies. So whenever you just check the block poly, you uncheck block public access or you check it, it automatically check all those things under it for you. And even beyond that, you can also declare bucket policies. I tell the policies are just document, JSON document that allow you to specify access to particular bucket or even the resources in the bucket. Maybe I want this guy to be able to see his own birth certificate, and he should not be able to see another person's own. So like those kind of things, you can actually so bucket policies are more granular. Whereas if you use block public access, you've already like cut everything. Nobody can even see it again except from you. But bucket policies will allow you to now fine tune the level of access you want to attach to the bucket. So you could also use IAM policies as well, right? But IAM policies are they will be attached to the person itself. But bucket policies is attached to the bucket, like the bucket is. So this is actually a sample, like a sample bucket policy. You have the version. Sorry. So you have the version. That's I told you that's like the last time Amazon revised their whole bucket thing. That was back in 2012, like 13 years ago. Yeah, we have your SID. SID is just identifier. Basically, you can put anything there. Just it's for you. It's not for. It doesn't concern anybody. SID is your own way to identify the policy. Then the effect. I told you the effect is an enum. It takes only allow or deny. Allow or deny. Then the principal is like the person accessing it. You can just leave it as star, so to apply to every single person. Now you can actually pass in like an ARN there for targeting a particular user, but this principal you just leave it as star, meaning that it's applying to every single person that's coming towards this bucket. And then we have the action. So every AWS resource, they have a level, they have a way, they have ways of decline of defining access to those resources. For S3O now, you have the get object, you have list object. It's a whole, they have a whole lot. But for this use case, they specify get object, right? Meaning you're allowing everybody to get what is inside the S3. And then you now define the resource. The resource is the particular bucket. ARN is just Amazon resource name. It's just a way for identifying each resource in Amazon. I hope that's clear. So this chart down here is just to show you like the level of security that each like method of defining security has. So you can see bucket policy is the highest. It's the best way, and it's a should I say it's a must. If you are building a personal project, it's very important. But if you ever find yourself working with someone, whether both of you are working on a personal like a small project or it's a for work, bucket policies are good because it's a practice. You don't just security doesn't come to your head at once, right? It's a repeated process. You start at a smaller level, then when you now find yourself working in a company or an organization, it's easier for you. So whenever you're working alone, you might not use bucket policy, but if you're working with someone, it's good practice to actually use a bucket policy. So we have IAM policy. It's not as secure as the bucket policy. We have access control lists, and then we have presign URLs. So presign URLs, you see, it has a small that is the least secure out of all of them. But don't let that fool you. Presign URL is should I say one of the best ways of communicating with an S3 bucket, the objects in it. So presign URL is just generate a temporal URL, right? So maybe you want a user to be able to see something for only 1 day or maybe 1 hour. Or let's say you have should I say a course now and you store the videos in S3 bucket and a user pay access. Let's say the user wants to like pay for your course and it says he can only pay for 1 day. So what you can do is that you collect his money since he's paying for 1 day. You now generate a presign URL to your course, and you now say, "Oh, this thing should expire after 1 day." So what that means is that the guy will have a URL to access your course for only 1 day. After 1 day, that URL will expire. So that's what presign URL is. This is you use it a lot if you find yourself uploading to S3 through like SDKs or through terminals or basically through in application level, you're going to be using presign URLs a lot, like a whole lot. So just get at the back of your mind. Also, this is the overview of the project that we're actually going to be working on. We're going to be hosting a website using S3. And why do we choose this use case? Because there are many other use cases that you could use S3 for. So the reason why we chose this is because it's simple and it's also something that happens every single day. Like many times when you see an ad campaign or an ad page, you might actually be seeing data coming from S3. And why do people actually use S3 to host like static websites? Why don't they use maybe a server or a container or Kubernetes or all those things? Because it's very cheap. It's very, very, very cheap. All you have to do is just you upload your HTML site, you do some configurations, and voila, the website is live and running. Yeah, so yeah, it's really, really cheap. It's easy, and a lot of companies use it. You don't know, maybe they don't just tell you, but most times when you see an ad campaign, like maybe Jumia is running an ad, or you see this Netflix ad, or all those things, as beautiful as the site may be, that it looks that, oh, this is really cool. Maybe it's a server. It might not be a server. Most times it's not a server. You just tap into like a static hosting, and then they might not even use S3. They might use like Azure or Google or GCP, but it's actually a static hosting that they use for most of those ad campaigns. So before we go into Amazon CloudFront, I just want to ask if there are any questions.
Eh, Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think you have some couple of questions. There
Okay.
is, if you check, can you check? Yeah, you can see it.
I'll check it. Okay, someone asked, can S3 run dynamic websites? By default, S3 does not allow you to run dynamic websites. It doesn't allow by default. But with some tweakings and with some CI/CD, you can. Right? So there are tools, like all these things, they are just tools. So S3 on its own will never allow you. But there's how you piece it with different services that you can now be able to like run dynamic websites. I hope that answers your question. Okay, someone says you have to set the parameters for tiering, right? Yes, you actually have to enable tiering. It's not your they won't do it for you, right? Because each tier has cost associated with it. So if you're using Glacier now, you basically not be paying anymore. You will not pay as much as standard. It's really small, like it's very, very cheap. At the end of this session, I'm going to like send links so you can actually see by yourself. So someone ask you, okay, the same person, is it automatic? Yeah, you can make it automatic yourself by turning on intelligent tiering, right? But that too comes with a price itself. Like at the initial stage, it comes with a price, and then after 30 days, so like they'll monitor your usage for 30 days, and then after 30 days, they are now able to choose for you. Oh, maybe this should be here. This should be here. Okay, data life cycle. So data life cycle is different from tiering. Data life cycle is just different. Yeah, it's actually part of tiering. It's just like different stages that your data might be. That, oh, after 30 days, my data should be in this particular state. After 100 days, it should move to this tier. Then maybe after 60 days, it should get deleted. Right? So that's data life cycle. It's similar to tiering. Okay, so is there any advantage of disadvantage to S3 as regard its storage capacity? Okay, so disadvantages. One disadvantage I'll say that S3 has is that if it's storage, right? And say you have a server now, and your server stores data in S3. Whenever your server wants to send data to S3, even if your server is in AWS, it's in the same VPC, the same region, your server will have to send data out of it. It will send data to the internet, right? It will now go and turn back to S3. If I can pull up it, I don't know if okay. So it's like you have to imagine these two things now. I'm inside Unilag, you're inside Unilag, both of us, and I want to give you something. Instead of me to come and meet you and give you the thing directly, I now go out of Unilag front gate. I go and turn, then come and give you Unilag back gate. I enter Unilag back gate and come and give you. So that's how S3 works with your resources. But you can bypass that it's not a glitch, it's how it works. It uses internet. S3 uses internet to communicate. So it has to go out of AWS, it will go out of your VPC out of your region rather, it will actually go and turn around the internet and come and send data to your server. But you can bypass that. If you are dealing with a very critical system and you know that, oh, you don't want data to be flowing through the internet, right? Especially since you're already paying for a server, you don't want data to be flowing through internet. You can set up like VPC endpoint. So maybe in the future we'll actually discuss that. We set up a VPC endpoint so that way your SG can now communicate directly with your servers and every single thing you have in your AWS account, like without going to the internet. So that's one drawback I'll say of S3. Okay. And there are others as well, right? There are others as well, but these are things that you actually have to you discover as you use. For example, myself now, someone about 3 weeks ago rather, someone messaged me that how can I send data from one S3 region to another region. So I was like, oh, you can just use S3 region replication. So that's a feature. You can replicate data between regions. And then it was like, oh, it's 40 terabytes of data. So if you have to use region replication, you know how much money you pay. You pay like a whole lot of money. Be like you, have, you pay a lot of money. So that's one drawback again. So you have to. So for how we solved that issue, you have to use another server again. So that server now act like a proxy. Then it's pulling data from this bucket and then sending to this bucket. It's a whole different process. If you want to know about it, I can like discuss it later on. Okay, so I believe I've answered most questions, so we can proceed. Now, CloudFront is a content delivery network. That's just a fancy way of saying a bunch of servers all around the world that store your data close to you. That's what a content delivery network is basically. You have servers all around the world, even if it's not AWS that have it, right? They can still store data there. And then if people close to that location are requesting that data, instead of them now going to your bucket or to where your own data is stored, they can just now contact that particular server that is close to you. That's what content delivery network is. But CloudFront now takes it to a different level. So before I talk about CloudFront, whenever you hear CDN, I don't know if you guys pay to your browsers and everything. Whenever you see CDN, all those CDN stuff, you see Cloudflare. So Cloudflare is actually like it's having a cloud size provider as well, and they have a very good CDN. A very good is actually one of the best. But CloudFront is like on steroids. It does a whole lot more than just distributing your content. When it comes to security, as you can see here, DDoS protection and DDoS protection and AWS Web Application Framework. So your data actually protected with CloudFront. You enable it. It protects your data. You can even say that, oh, I want my data to only be available to people in Nigeria. You can actually use a CloudFront distribution to do that. So whenever the data is coming, if it sees that this region is not Nigeria, it will not take it there, right? So anybody from UK now can access it. If you are accessing through my link, my own like my website link, and you're not from Nigeria, it's not going to work. It is high available. It has high availability. Like I said, it's all over the world. AWS has like a global infrastructure, so they have servers and data centers all around the world. So it stores it there at each edge location close to you, so that whenever you request the data, instead of data going to that server to like where your data is in the region, it just contact the server nearby. So let me give you like a small, a very small scenario. Say for example, now you don't understand something in class and you go to meet your lecturer to explain something for you in his office. He explains it for you. You don't write it down, so you don't store it somewhere. You have it in your mind. The next day, you are studying and you forgot. You went back to the lecturer again. That, sir, please, I don't understand this. Explain it for me. He explains it for you. You go again. The next day again, you don't store that thing down. You forget. You go back to him. If you keep doing that, what you're actually doing is that one, in the real world now, you're actually wasting lecturer's time. He has things to do. It's not you that have things to do. You are wasting his time. Two, the trust between you and the lecturer, you are breaking it because he's seeing you as an unserious person. And three, you're also wasting your time, like going to that particular time every single time you want to request the particular thing from him. You're wasting your time. Now, the best thing to do for this scenario now, you go and meet your lecturer. As long as you're asking for, oh, sir, please explain Fourier transforms or explain organic chemistry to me. You go and meet him. He explains it for you. You now write down a piece of paper. You carry back to your house. Now the next day, as long as it's organic chemistry that you don't understand, you open your paper, you take it from there. Anytime you need to request that particular organic chemistry, you don't have to go and waste your time and lecturer's time again. You just contact your piece of paper, you check it, you see, you get what you want, and then you're satisfied. Now that's what CloudFront does and content delivery. That's what they do in basic, like in general. The first time you actually contact your website, like you make a request to your website or to a resource or to a video or to like whatever it is, what's happening is that that first time you are actually going to where that data is stored, gone. Maybe it's stored in a server in US now or in Chicago, like wherever it's stored. You are now going there to go and request that resource. They give it to you. If you don't set up a content delivery network, the next time again you request that same thing, that particular image or video, you are going back there to take it. The next time again, you are going back to that particular server again. Like, but when you set up a content distribution, whenever you request it, oh, CloudFront is smart enough to say that, oh, okay, this guy requested A, we'll store A somewhere close to him, maybe a server in, let's say it's in Nigeria now, we'll store A in, let's say, a server in South Africa, or depending on where the server is closest to him, we'll store it there. So whenever this guy now wants that particular thing again, instead of us now forwarding his request to the original server, the origin server, we now send him to that particular place in South Africa. Oh, since you want this particular thing, come and take it from here. Now, what you are doing in that process is that you are saving a lot of money, like a whole lot of money. This DDoS, you are seeing all these DDoS attacks and all this kind of thing. If your data in S3 is requested, like whenever your data leaves S3, like it leaves and goes to internet and comes to you, there is a charge. It's very small, right? It's very, very small, but there's a charge like attached to it. Now imagine if that charge, as small as it may be, multiplied by 1 million users every single day. Let's say you have 1 million users now every single day requesting this particular thing. Let's say it's $0.1. Now times 1 million. That was already $100,000 in a particular day. Now every single day they are requesting this particular thing. Imagine within like a week or so, you've already spent money that you're not supposed to spend. So that's basically the partner content distribution. Like that's what they solve. That's what they solve. They just make it easy. So instead of now them querying your server every single time, disturbing your server every single time, oh no, we just give them an edge location. Come here, you take your data, classify yourself, do anything you want to do. But as long as that particular data, you take it from here. If you want a different data, now we'll now forward you back to the original server. But we'll store it. But anything I take it from the server, we'll store it somewhere close to you so that whenever you need to request it, it's like readily available for you. So we have like other benefits. I've already talked about like the security, HTTPS support. It saves cost a lot. Like I don't know if you guys play this game, Clash of Clans. So Clash of Clans, they are Clash of Clans like 250 million players every single day. Like that's a lot of players. They have a whole lot of players. So they actually use most of the content I've actually requested everything, like the player skins and everything, apart from the one downloaded, the ones I saw on the server. They use CloudFront. I just found out about this guy recently. So they use CloudFront actually to distribute the content. Super Bowl. This American nonsense tournament. Like it's one of the most viewed like sporting events worldwide. So Peacock is a company actually broadcasting. They use CloudFront as well because many people are actually requesting that, and the content is not changing because it's still the same videos they are requesting. So they use CloudFront to actually distribute it. F1 uses it as well, and a lot of other companies like this one I just mentioned are the ones that like AWS actually feature on their website just to tell you that, oh, this naturally saves costs for people. Okay, so we've talked about CloudFront, and we can integrate with S3, right? So it's a content delivery network, and S3 stores content. So like if you just put one and two together, you know that, oh, CloudFront can actually distribute content. So we choose our origin server, which is like our bucket. We choose our root element. That's the element that we actually want to distribute, and then we now enable HTTPS. So HTTPS just is for security, right? HTTP is not secure, but the S in this HTTP stands for security, right? So it's a higher level than HTTP, and then you access your website. I hope I've done justice in explaining what a content delivery does and what CloudFront does as well. So whenever you are creating a distribution, you should like pay attention to the best practices. So we have the restricting S3 bucket access to CloudFront only. So it doesn't make any sense if you have an S3 bucket and people are still, and you have an S3 bucket and in front of the bucket you have a CloudFront distribution, right? It doesn't make any sense if people are still accessing from the S3 bucket itself. So you should just restrict it that, oh, this S3 bucket is private to everybody, everyone else, but only CloudFront can access it. So that's what OIA does. That's basically what this OIA does. And then you can now access your CloudFront through the domain name. But in the real world, you will not use the domain name. This domain name here, you see, it's just a bunch of numbers. Who have time to type in a bunch of numbers just because you want to watch a video? In the real world, you tie it down to, let's say you have your own domain name now, or maybe my website.com. You tie this thing down to that website using Route 53. So we haven't done networking yet. So but you guys should know that, oh, you can actually like connect your own domain name that you've purchased with resources that you have in the cloud. Okay. So we're about to start our hands-on learn begin, and before we proceed, I'd like to just answer a few questions. Okay, caching. Okay, someone says, do you have to check where there are more requests before setting up about someone? Okay, you have to check more requests before setting up CloudFront. No, you don't even have to check. You should just set up if you have a content, right, like a video, or just think of it as you are building an application now, or you have an application. I know that, oh, people are actually going to be accessing this. It's going to be costing me money. And imagine if it's just one video you have. Nobody should tell you you should set up a CloudFront distribution. If you have, let's say you have just one video that you are selling, maybe you are selling this particular video or this course now. No one should tell you that if they are requesting from your CloudFront that it's going to be costing you money. Like from your S3 direct, it's going to be costing you money. So you actually have to use a CloudFront distribution. It's actually a best practice type of thing. But yeah, if you have a system where you can like check your traffic, right? Maybe like you connected it to like maybe an ads manager or something where you can actually check, oh, this many people clicked on my ad. So you can actually you can do that, but it's not really a good practice. And talk a little bit more about S3. So about Route 53, Route 53 is like AWS's domain, like their own, should I say like their own domain service. There are many others out there. There's this GoDaddy. There are different other platforms that you can use to buy domain names and like verify your own domain safe. So that's what Rafity does for you. It's just like their own domain service. Oh, Amazon doesn't have. Okay, sorry, Azure doesn't have. I think GCP has. I don't even know. Not many cloud platforms actually offer this. So AWS is actually special. It's like their own domain name system. Can you to manage your domains, route traffic. It's a whole lot, but like on the surface level, it's just a domain name system. So are there any other questions? Okay, so we're about to go into the hands-on session now. And if you have any questions, yeah, I like how you guys are just leaving it in the chat. Please just leave it there. I will definitely come back to it. So I'll need to stop sharing for now. Yeah, 1 second. Log in. Okay. Right. So can you guys see my screen? Please just leave like a yes or like anything. Let me see in the chat so you can. Okay. So for this hands-on, we're going to be demonstrating how you sorry, we're going to be demonstrating how you configure your S3 bucket for static website hosting. Okay, so the first step obviously is to create an S3 bucket. I think we went over this the last time. You create the bucket, and remember I told you like your bucket name must be DNS compliant, meaning they must be unique. It's just a fancy word for saying your bucket names must be unique. So we can just give it like a long name. Doesn't static. So one good practice in creating buckets is that you first like describe your bucket, name things you want to name there, but at the ending you can just leave some numbers there so that just make it unique. So okay, so we've talked about like ACLs and like ACLs. It's access control is there are ways for also like defining access to like your bucket, but like it's an older method. That's why you see by default it's even disabled. All right, and then I talked about like private versus public. So you can say if I don't click anything now, I just like come down here to create the bucket. Oh, I already created the bucket. Okay, so as I've done this now, it's actually a public, it's actually a private bucket, right? Because I didn't uncheck this, but this sorry, let me come back to create a new bucket. I'll do that one later. Oh, okay, someone said it's too small. Okay, so I hope it's clearer now. I'm used to shrinking my screen because of my eyes. So, but what I was saying is this: if you don't uncheck this button, if you don't check this button, your bucket is actually like public. The only way you can make it's actually private. Sorry, the only way you can make it the only way you can make it public is if you uncheck this, right? So now see they are telling you that it's actually a public bucket and you have to like acknowledge. So in case you put maybe something that is sensitive and someone accesses it, yeah, on your own. So that's why they are making you sign that I acknowledge this. So bucket versioning. So what versioning means is think of it like I hope you guys are familiar with GitHub and how it keep different versions of your code. You can do it here as well. So let's say you create an index.html, you upload it. If you have versioning enabled, if you upload under index.html, normally overwrite that one that's there. But because you enable versioning, it will then like remove it will now like store the both of them, right? But this one will now be of a different version, meaning that it's the newer one that you will see, but the older one will still be there. So that's when you enable versioning. That's what it does. And even when you try to delete the bucket or you delete the object in the bucket, what it's going to do is that you just put like a tag on it that deleted, but it won't actually delete it because you've enabled versioning, right? So versioning is a way of protecting a way of protecting your objects inside your S3, your files in S3. It's a way of protecting it. It's not the most secure way, but it's a way of protecting it as well. And as encryption, I told you, whenever you upload your data, it's going to be encrypted. So you can see there's already like something checked by default. So like on AWS's end, maybe in their server or something, someone that is there can actually see my data. Like it's already encrypted. And you can now choose to encrypt it by yourself as you are uploading it. But that's a whole long process. I won't go into that. And not everyone does that. You can do that for like really security things. Wait, did I enable version? Okay. Right. I didn't put name. I'll just call it anything. Static dash. Um, let's call it 555. So while it's creating, let me check if there are any messages. Okay, so someone says it's better now. All right. So this is bucket we just created. We can actually go into the bucket now. So let me give you an overview of, or let's just go through the different tabs that we have here. So metadata is just extra information about your S3 bucket and the objects in it. So if you're actually going to be using it, we are going to be using this bucket as maybe a data warehouse or something. Metadata is very important, right? You can actually use it to you can use it to filter data inside your S3. You can use it to filter among S3 buckets as a whole. It's just extra data about your. As you can see, they've even cited here. It's mostly in use for business analytics, machine learning, AI generated data, and just extra information about data. That's what metadata is. And then properties. This is where you can actually tap into like some of the advantages of S3. So you have the bucket version. And we talked about that. Tags is just name, right? They are key value pairs. So you can actually tag this bucket now. If you can tag it, that we can say something like maybe purpose, and then value we can put here that okay, we can even put a description rather of what the bucket is, what the bucket does. And then with value you can say something like for static website hosting. All right, so that's what tag is. Just normal tagging. It's like carrying a badge basically, so you can identify something easier. So if someone, let's say my teammate comes and see I created a bucket, he doesn't have to come and ask me that why did I create this bucket? What does it do? You can just come here and see that, oh, this is a description for. You can also add other field as well. So encryption, we've talked about that. I remember I said intelligent tiering. You can see it's not enabled by default. Like you have to do that by yourself. And the server access logging is just logs that they publish to CloudWatch. So CloudWatch is in should I say like in overview it's like a login service, but it's more than that. But you can think of it as a login service. We have CloudTrail. So CloudTrail is used to monitor like API usage across AWS in general, right? So anything that has to do with credentials, API related, API activity, all API activity, CloudTrail is your guy. So you can see who requested to see what, who turn on this instance, who does basically just all API activities on AWS. CloudTrail, everything goes to CloudTrail if you set it up. And then we have event notifications, which is used for, say for example, now you want to trigger whenever somebody uploads data to S3. What you want to do now is that you now want to make it such that, oh, that data, we now want to take it and maybe send it somewhere else to another server or something like that. Or for example, now if you have an image, what you want to do is that whenever you upload the image to S3, you want to compress the image. Let me say you have like a code somewhere that's going to compress that image. That's what event notification is. It's just for pipelines basically. For pipelines, if you know what pipelines are, meaning that like one thing will trigger another thing, that thing will trigger the next thing. That's what event notification does. And we have transfer acceleration. It's comes at a cost, obviously. It's for speeding up how you like for you to request data from S3 or to send data. All these things, they have like network speed attached to it. If you want to increase it, you want more, you can optionally turn it on. We have object lock. Object lock means that anything that you write inside, it won't be able to be deleted again, like this object lock. So you can see write once, read many. It doesn't allow that deleting, overwriting, basically. It doesn't allow it. It's a good way to secure data as well. Then we have requester pays. You can learn more about that one. What we're really focusing more is the static website hosting, because that's what our project is about. And yeah, you have to enable it. It's not something that's enabled by default again, right? This is what like the process looks like to host a static website. You specify the name of your HTML file that you want to. We've not actually uploaded it yet, the HTML file, but you can specify it here, and then you choose your error document, meaning that if a user encounters an error, what should we show to him? You can actually choose this error.html. That's if you have. In most cases, we don't usually have. And okay, we can even set it up here now. We just choose our index.html. Let me see if it's okay. And then we save the changes. So now we've enabled static website hosting on our S3. But this alone is not enough for you to actually host data on S3. This is not enough. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I come here now and I upload something, I upload, let me say I upload an HTML file. All right, so let's say I upload this file now. And I come back to this article like static hosting. There's usually a URL, right? So it creates a URL for you to actually view your website. And then if I open it, so it's saying 403 forbidden, access denied. So what that's telling you is that even besides the fact that you have enabled website hosting, the data inside S3 itself, they are still private, and you actually have to set up a permission to be able to allow anybody to see what's inside your S3 bucket. And to do that, we have to use a bucket policy, right? So this is the process to create a bucket policy. I told you it's JSON. So JSON is just like a key value, they are key value pairs basically, all wrapped up inside like a curly braces. So you have to create the policy here. Now, if you don't know how to create the policy, it's not even a big deal. For static hosting, you can usually just search. Let me even show you yourself. AWS S3 static hosting policy. So AWS, they even have the policy that you should use. What's this capture stuff? Sorry. Oh my god. See, okay. Let me just. I actually want to show you guys so that let me just go through the nonsense steps. Maybe I'm a robot safe. I didn't even know where the traffic light stops. Oh, what's wrong with these guys now? No, these people they are not serious. I'll probably show you now when I'm done with this session. So if you don't know how to create a bucket, like a policy rather, you don't have to disturb it. You don't have to give yourself headache about it. One, because for most things that you need to do, if you just search AWS, they already have those templates. You can just copy them. And if you don't want to copy, they have like policy examples over here. You can actually view different policies, and maybe your use case might be there. If you don't want to even check policy, you can actually generate manually without typing without writing the JSON or anything. You can actually like generate policies. So like policies are not really a big deal. You can actually come here, you see a whole lot of policies here. Even the one we are looking for is here, the static hosting. I'm sure it's here. But let's not waste our time. Let's just go into what we are going to be doing. So I already have it. I have it here, right? So this is a policy. I'll walk you through what it does now. So remember I told you about like the versioning. Don't worry about that one. Seed, don't worry about that one. Seed is just like the name. So the name is public read get object. And then now the effect, I told you this one can only take allow or deny. In this case, we're allowing the principal, everyone. You see star in the middle now. Star is a wild card, catches all. In regular expressions, like I mean you're catching every single thing. Anybody that is coming here, any service, anything, we put star there, you can access it. And now the action, this is the main thing you are defining. We're now allowing S3 get objects, meaning the anybody that's coming, we've allowed you to only get objects. Finish. That's the only thing you can do. If you try to list the objects or to should I say delete or to change or like you don't have that permission to do that. Right? And then the resource, this is where we now choose the bucket that we've actually created. So we just put the name here. You put the ARN, like the ARN of the AWS bucket. You can actually copy that. See the bucket ARN here. But since I already have this, I just need to put the name here. Static Josh 555. So I can like occasionally just copy this one here as well and then paste it there. It does exactly the same thing. We save the changes. Right, so now we need to come back again and check if our website is actually being hosted. Okay, so this is our website basically. This is the HTML document I put together. This way that we've actually set it up is very cost effective because mind you, this is a static data as it says at the title there. It doesn't change, right? So there's no need for me to actually create a server and install a bunch of heaven and earth just so I can run this or to use any other deployment models. This is the cheapest way you can actually deploy using the static hosting. So before we actually set up a distribution, I want to know if there are any questions. Oh, we don't need this anymore. Okay. Okay, so someone said, can ChatGPT write the bucket policy for you? Yes, it can write, but ChatGPT is not a human being, right? So when it creates the policy for you, you should actually check it yourself because it can put deny where you need allow and it can actually mess things up for you. But yes, it can. Like you should use it, but always make sure that you are reviewing it by yourself. Right, because like I said before, like security is not something that just comes. It immediately give you immediately someone sends you offer letter for a job. Now you will now learn security. Like security is like a muscle. You have to. It's true repeated. It's true repeated like true practice that you actually know what security is all about. Think of your phones now. If you buy a new phone today, the first thing you need is set up a password. Like because you've been doing it for a long time, right? You don't want anyone to access what's in your phone, so you secure it. So whenever you are creating policies with ChatGPT, you should always have in the back of your mind that you have to like scrutinize what it has done, like scrutiny. If you don't even understand the policy, tell ChatGPT to explain it line by line. Oh, what does this line do? What does this line do? So that it will catch its own errors by itself. So that's something that you can check yourself. Now, what are the use cases for tags? Like I told you, tags there are those ways to identify. There are ways to identify the buckets, basically. Identify purpose, identify so let me give you this use case now. Say for example, I have a you have I think better prompt. If you know how to prompt better, yeah, that's also a skill by the way. Like prompting is a skill. If you have it, then like more power to you, I guess. So for use cases for tags, say for example, you have how do I put this? You have a system now, like a workflow that's processing lots of data. And you now, let's say you now have two buckets. You can tag them that, oh, this bucket is for dev. Let's say for your dev environment, for within your company, this is bucket we use. And then for the production environment we use, you can just tag it that, oh, staging dev, this one production. So that way, in your own system itself, maybe in your code or anything, you can actually, because you can access the tags through your code, through the SDK, through your terminal, you can actually like filter by tags. So that's one advantage of tags. Like it can help you in filtering between buckets and data in your buckets as well. Okay, so there are no more questions. So let's just quickly go to CloudFront, and we have to be fast. Okay, so we can create our CloudFront distribution. Create processes. So we just choose a name. You can just call it static site distribution. You can put distribution. You can put your description if you want. We're going to leave that blank because we already know what we are doing here. Now, if you have a, like I told you, if you have a custom domain name, you have your own, let me say Amazon.com or whatever your website is.com, you can actually come and verify yourself here that, oh, you're the owner of that, and then you can set that up to this stage. So, yeah, we choose the origin. Like CloudFront distributes content, and content can come from different places. It can come from a load balancer, an elemental media package. This one is usually for distributing media, maybe videos. It can come from a VPC origin, API gateway, and basically anywhere. It can come from anywhere. But for this case, it's Amazon S3, and that's the most common way. So we choose our S3 bucket. What was the name? 555. Yeah. So if, let's say, within your S3 bucket you have a folder, and inside that folder you have your HTML document, you can now put the folder here, right? But since our HTML document is in the root, like it's inside our S3 directly, we don't need to specify anything here. So allow private S3 bucket access to CloudFront. Yes, we should definitely check this. And then we go. I always, this is if you want to set up a web like a firewall to protect data from maybe from DDoS attacks. Maybe somebody will just decide that he wants to wicked you for some reason, and then will now be requesting resource every single time. So this can actually like protect you from those type of things, or like injections, or there's a whole lot of issues that could arise whenever you are distributing data. So let's just leave it because we're going to set it down like afterwards. Okay, I will create the distribution. So one thing about CloudFront, I told you that it like sends your data to different locations around the world. So because of that, it actually takes time for distribution. It actually have to like replicate your data across each of their edge locations and the one closer to you as well. So it might actually take this process can take sometimes 5-20 minutes. So because it's small data we have, I just hope it doesn't take as much time. Okay, so while it's creating, if there are any questions you have again, maybe about CloudFront or about anything, you can ask them now. So this process, I don't know how long it's going to take, or we can be checking. So if you don't set up a custom domain, if you don't set up a custom domain name, CloudFront will give you one, and it looks like rubbish, honestly. Like you can't use this thing for anything. Maybe for your own personal use case, you can use this, but for this process, for this session, we'll just make use with this. I just hope that. Okay, say it doesn't. So it's still creating the distribution. It's still deploying. I don't know how long this process. Sometimes I told you it takes like 5 to 20 minutes at times. Um, so let me see if there are any questions. Okay. Okay, so can CloudFront integrate with EC2? Yes, as long as data is coming from somewhere, honestly. So how will CloudFront recognize your S3 bucket? We actually we set that. Maybe you didn't see. Let me show you again. See, if I'm creating a distribution, I'll just set up a random name here, right? So you choose your origin here, and you choose the S3 bucket, the bucket that you actually want to distribute from. You choose it, and that's why we chose this one, right? Does that answer your question? You choose the bucket yourself. It doesn't just randomly pick any bucket. You choose the bucket yourself. Does that answer your question, Buzz Mediums? I'll take that as a yes. Yeah, specify. Let's just leave. I don't know how long this thing is still deploying. Okay, it's still deploying. Like I said, it takes time for it to deploy. Does anyone have any other I didn't see that anyone I missed. Oh, I didn't actually see this question earlier. Someone asked, is AWS domain different from others? So I don't know what you mean by domain. Maybe you meant domain name. So domain name system, every domain name system, they have their own special features. Like they have their like unique selling point as to why you should use them. But on the baseline, a domain name system would always do the same thing, right? A DNS will always do the same thing. It's not AWS. They have their own special advantages. Every other one, GoDaddy and whichever one you are using, they all have their own special features. But on the baseline, a domain name system is a domain name system. They must offer domain name services. Okay, so from a practice, how much did that cost? It cost you zero, right? It's going to cost you like zero. Free tier will cover everything. And even if you don't even have free tier itself, if you have like a HTML document and you're accessing it, it's very, very cheap. Like it's almost zero safe. So don't I don't know if I can show you what S3 pricing looks like. S3. So they usually charge you per millions of requests. So there's no how. I'm trying to check if this is deploying. Oh, oh, okay. I said this actually takes quite some time because the reason why I actually want to deploy, I want to show you what it does to your S3 bucket. Okay, it hasn't deployed it yet. Okay, so you can see like your S3 standard, your first 50 terabyte per month. This is how much it's going to be charging you. So 0.023 per gigabyte, right? And imagine our document is just like 1 kilobyte. It's not even up to 1 kilobyte. It's like okay, yeah, probably like 1 kilobyte. So no matter how many times you even access itself, like it's not up to a gigabyte itself. So if you're to do the mathematics behind that, you will not be paying. You can't even pay anything. So it's too small for them to even be like it's just too small. And since we're going to be tearing it, you're going to be like deleting everything after we are done. You don't have to worry about paying. And of course, like I said, they have different classes as well. So across different tiers, they have different way of them like charging you. So does that answer your question on Buzz Mediums? Take that as a yes. I don't know why you're saying it's taking too much time. Okay, this thing just wants to take time. Okay. So let me show you what it does to our bucket. So if we come to our bucket here, So these are our buckets. We are setting up a CloudFront distribution. CloudFront actually needs permission to get those objects, to get this file, right? And then it's going to put it at a location close to the user based on how you request. So now that getting permission and like to actually like download the file and then paste it somewhere else, it need permission to do it, right? So CloudFront will actually come here and it's going to like put his own permissions there. Has it done that finish? Okay, so you can even see two new permissions have been added. Okay, okay, one permission has been added. So you can see CloudFront service principal allow. This is the CloudFront itself. Get object, hosting, adding different conditions, and depending on how you configure your distribution, it's going to add the permissions here inside your S3 bucket. That's what I wanted to show you. Okay, so did I add styling to my HTML file? Yes, I add styling to it. So optionally, you can you can create a CSS file, but I did not. I put everything into the. If you want to see it after the, I'll drop a link to the repository so you can see what the HTML file looks like. That's beside the point I'm making. So I'll take this as all the questions that you guys have asked. If there's any, you can reach out to us on the platform. That's the group, or my DMs are open. You can ask me questions and for anyone for any question or anything that you just need clarity on. Because since this is going to take some time to actually like, replicate. So Mr. Our captain, are you still here?
All right. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, so since we are done with the hands-on, what I want to leave you guys with is it doesn't just end here. There are a lot of like crazy things that you can actually you can actually take this on like to the next level. So you can actually set it up with Route 53 if you want. If you want to do that, you can like leave a message on the group. We'll leave you with resources that you can actually look into that will like help you with that. But keep building and just keep learning in general. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sharif. That was quite impressive. I believe we'll learn one or two things today. Um, I believe we learned about S3, the use cases, the security, cloud funds, and all of that. Um, so I really learned a lot today. So yeah, can you decide which regions you want? So, Mr. Boss, I don't know if you are on the WhatsApp group. You can drop your message there, so we can answer you. So we're going to end the today's session. So I want to thank everyone for joining today. Thanks to Mr. Sharif and Mr. Mohammed for making this happen. And then thanks to everyone that also joined. We'll continue this next week or upper next week, depending on how we're going to structure this. All right. So if you're not on the group, please let us know. We can send you a link to join. Um, please, can anyone, if you can share the link to the YouTube, please share so that they can join. And if you have any message, you can also like reach out to any one of us. So yeah, thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you again. Have a wonderful evening.